Mete Yarar, you're a security analyst. Thank you for talking to us. Bizle konuştuğunuz için çok teşekkür ederiz. Now, we know that people took to the streets on Friday night to fight against this coup. What more details do you have in terms of what happened that night?
Cuma akşamı Türkiye için en uzun geceydi.
First of all, I need to say that Friday night was one of the longest nights for Turkey. Junta wanted to do two things on Friday night. First, they wanted to take over the armed forces. The second thing, they wanted to capture and neutralize the president, who would be a problem for them politically. The biggest conflicts on Friday were these issues. I could give so many more details. You could make a movie out of each of the details, but shortly, Junta had two aims. One is taking over Turkish armed forces, and the second is to prevent any politicians who would be a problem for them.
Türkiye için çok uzun bir gece oldu.
In terms of military warfare and equipment, what was used during this attempted coup?
Siviller üzerine dışarı çıkarılması gereken bütün
They used all the equipment that they are not supposed to use against civilians. I call them junta. They used even F-16s, including armed attack helicopters, including tanks and armored vehicles. They stole all the armed forces vehicles and equipment of the Turkish armed forces. The vehicles you see here are the most innocent ones they have used. They unfortunately used much worse equipment than these.
korkunç ekipmanları maalesef kullandılar.
We still have the military vehicles in our yards here at TRT. Where do you think these vehicles came from?
Tabii ki silahlı kuvvetlerin kışlalarından çıkartıldı.
These vehicles were taken out of Turkish armed forces posts. This was an act out of a chain of command of armed forces. These equipments are not supposed to be taken out of military zones. They were used on Friday. Here, you see the equipment that was stolen and then taken out of military zones.
Karşınızda.
President Erdogan told us that the town he was staying at the time, Marmaris, was bombed after he left. What more details do you have?
O gece 4 tane helikopterle
Air Force teams left for Marmaris with 4 helicopters that night. While they were leaving, they said something important in the helicopter. You were going to come into our den, now we are coming into yours. This radio talk among themselves was picked up by the National Intelligence Organization. Then they called the head of the protective detail for the president and asked them to leave the hotel. The president had left the hotel 15 minutes before these helicopters arrived.
otelden çıkmıştı.
How long do you think the group behind this attempted coup were planning it?
Bizim aldığımız istihbarat yaklaşık 8 ay.
According to the intelligence we got, they planned this 8 months ago. They decided to organize this coup 8 months ago. My guess is July 15 was not their target date, but the members of this group in the Turkish armed forces, police forces, justice and other civilian institutions knew that they would not have any other chance once the Istanbul's chief prosecutor's office prepared formal criminal charges against them. So they had to move the coup date to an earlier date, meaning July 15 coup attempt was an action that was made earlier than it was planned.
Hayata geçirilmesi.
Do you think there is a big division in the military?
Ordu içinde
Actually, you can look at this form in two different points of view. The first one is that it was a conflict between a group of soldiers who are siding with the politicians and those who are loyal to Fethullah Gulen. If they had been able to filtrate into the army fully, we would not be having this interview today. Those who came with these vehicles would be here. But when especially the soldiers who believed in democracy did not participate in this attempt, that group did not become successful.
ekip başarıya ulaşmadı.
The coup lasted less than 12 hours. Why do you think it was so unsuccessful?
Darbe 12 saatten az sürdü ama
The coup lasted less than 12 hours, but I think the main elements of this coup are still there, because this group works in a crypto system. When you look at the structuring of this group, you see that those closest to the chief of staff and force commanders were the ones who attempted this coup. Aides and those who had led very important intelligence units have organized this. I'm asking this. Where else in Turkey did these people occupying these important positions put people in other positions? Today we are saying we prevented the coup, but I think only the first attempt has been prevented. There will definitely be other waves. For this reason, Turkey definitely needs to have a security-related decision and prepare against those who will try to do this. I'm telling once more that 12 hours is not over. This is an ongoing process. There is a failed coup attempt, but there is another group ready to try again, waiting in the back.
Ama denemeye hazır olan bir grup hala arkada hazır bekliyor.
Thousands of military personnel have been detained, including high-ranking soldiers. What does this mean for Turkey's military going forward? What kind of restructuring process is now underway?
Evet, bu operasyon hala devam edecek. Şu andaki sayılar bunlar olabilir ama bu
Yes, this operation will continue. The numbers might change, and we think it might rise to 10,000 to 15,000. We cannot anymore say that these people should stay, and we will have to work together. Trust has been lost. Chief of Military Staff's own top aide were the ones who neutralized him. It was his top aide who pulled his gun and directed at him. Soldiership as a profession depends on mutual trust and friendship. They need to act on the instinct of protecting and acting mutually. Once this trust is lost, those who are not trusted anymore should be dismissed. Yes, difficult times are ahead for Turkey. When Turkey is fighting against PKK and Daesh, it'll have to fight against Gulen. It'll have to fight against Gulen's organization coup attempt. This process is really difficult for all of us. This is a time that we need to overcome by standing shoulder to shoulder, and not just armed forces, but also all Turkish people, all politicians. If Turkey loses this, Europe and US will too. We saw what disorder means in Iraq, Syria and Libya. Compared to Turkey's power and influence, these are small countries. If Turkey is dragged towards any disintegration or civil unrest, believe me, there will be no Europe or no US left.
İnanın ne Avrupa kalır ne ABD kalır.
Tehdit bitti mi? Sonra ne olacak? Is the threat over and what happens next?
Tehdit bitmedi. Çünkü
The threat is not over because the coup was only made with armed forces. There are factors of coups. There must be members in the police forces, intelligence units, media, business world, politics. Before all these factors are revealed, before all the resources are revealed, it is not possible to say it's over. You can detain 3,000 soldiers, but they are only the front and visible fractions of this group. Then who are those who push or encourage them? Who is motivating them? Where are they trained? Before you unearth these people, they will put together another 3,000 in their place. They will try to provoke 3,000 people to revolt, to make sure that this ends. You have to make sure you replace all of these other members in other places as well. That is how you solve this issue.
onlar 3000 kişiyi daha kandırmak için uğraşacaklardır.
Mete Yarar, thank you. Teşekkür ederiz.
Ben teşekkür ederim. Çok sağ olun.